Greetings, family. This is Cassandra Faye Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. I am back with y'all after a very, very, very long weekend. Um, let's see, it's 4:08. Gonna get ready to do the conspiracy to right all wrongs. Then, even though I got 1,000 things to do today, I gotta talk to y'all because we're on the eve of the new moon in Cancer. Let's see, it's 4:09. On the eve of the new moon in Cancer, and so we have to say something and do something about that. Um, yeah. So, can y'all see me? Can y'all see me? Okay. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get ready to do that. Let's see. Damn, come on, man. Ugh. Y'all ain't shit. We are the breakers of curses, the casters of glorious conspiracies, and the creators of the new world. I, Cassandra Faith Floyd, am a divine instrument of my mother's divine will. As such, I am protected and guided by the sacred blood and water of my mother, Jacqueline Jeanette Cook's body, that anointed my entry into this life. I am divine because she is divine. Mommy and I are one. I call all of our mothers to this moment. I call on they who govern everything at all time, and every space in between. She with 10,000 names, today it is Oya, Yamaya, Oshun, Yamiaje, the divine architects of existence, usheresses of the new age. Mommy and I are one. Call upon all the divine ancestors in the ashe of every mother on earth to break every curse ever cast upon the mother and her children. In all timelines and in every dimension, Mommy and I are one. We, the mother's divine children, conspire together today to forever bind those who have or would harm you, great mother. Mommy and I are one. We conspire together today to destroy everything and everyone in every timeline and every dimension that has caused suffering and despair. Mommy and I are one. Today, we embody the sacred and divine power of our mothers. Today, we the tree, we the weavers rewrite all time. Today, we the tree, we the weavers rewrite the book of life. Today, we our mothers' children call the winds of change. We conjure the primordial dark. We summon the sacred serpent deep from within the earth. We subdue the rogue sun. We control the light. We heal the harmed. We embolden the fearful. We instill courageous action. Today, we are staging a global evolution as is our mother's divine will. Mommy and I are one. We, the architects of the new age, now create the new institutions, the new traditions, the new culture, the new ways of being. We ecstatically welcome the radical destruction of all institutions of hate and harm erected by the godheads of war. Mommy and I are one. We have the power. We have the voice. We are the portals of change. Now we employ our sacred breath and we give life and sacred blood to this conspiracy. Mommy and I are one. We command, come the wind, come the storm, come the lightning, capture and judge all godheads of war, all betrayers of the mother's divine will. Bring their confusion and war to an immediate end. Scatter them to oblivion, never to be resurrected. We are the fates. We are the furies. We are the Iyamiyaje. We are the disseminators of divine time, divine retribution, divine rectification, and evolutionary justice. We are the restorers of heaven on earth. Under the mother's divine reign, we wake the sacred serpent from her sleep to assist us in this sacred assignment. Love unlimited is our birthright. Harmony is our birthright. Ecstasy is our birthright. Pleasure is our birthright. Freedom is our birthright. This is her divine will, and we are the divine executors of her will. We speak her will into the now to reverberate throughout all time, all space, and all dimensions. It is certainly as we say, forever and ever. Mommy and I are one. Mommy and I are one. Mommy and I are one. I say, oh. All right. Let me grab my phone. I need to send a text really quick. And I will be back. But we got to talk for a minute because this week is going to be intense. The tree, the weaver. I was smiling while we were doing that because I got our conspiracy song stuck in my head. Today we the tree, we the weavers, we ride all time. Today we the tree, we the weavers, we write the book of life. In all timeline and in every dimension. It's the jam now, y'all. It's the jam now. Let's see if I can send this text really quick and then we'll get started. So I got 2 new books that came in the mail today. I told y'all I got a problem. As if I needed any more books. But this book we needed. Like I was doing some study the other day and I scoured the internet. When I say I scoured the internet, I combed the internet like a lunatic for hours and hours and hours and could not find what I needed. So I found this book, and even the book was hard to find, and I paid a lot for the book. Okay, I paid a lot for the book. Like, I love to use books. You feel me? I like being able to find shit used that's great and carrying on. That was not the case. So I had to break down and spend much more than I wanted to for this book. But I knew I needed it. I knew we needed it. And I'll be honest, it might very well be the next book we read. Truth be told, as much as I spent on this book, you feel me, it may very well be the next book we read. I'm tempted to start reading it today. I got 2 books today, but this one in particular is a must have, and there's no PDFs of it online. And like I said, it was very hard to find. I don't know if it's out of print. I don't know what the situation is with it, but it was very hard to find. So I paid $58 for this book. I think 58. And I was expecting to get like for $58. I was expecting to get a big old thick like encyclopedia-esque book, and it is not. Okay. The book is called The Architects of Existence, the IJ in Yoruba Cosmology, Ontology, and Orchard by Teresa in Washington. The Architects of Existence, the IJ in Yoruba Cosmology, Ontology, and Orchard. So I'm excited about this book because there were some specific things that I had been trying to find out about the EIME that I could not find. Like I said, I spent a lot of hours one night just trying to, I subscribe to Scribd.com, where you can find a lot of information that you wouldn't it's easy to get lost on Scribd. It's easy to get lost on that joint there. Because I'm telling you, books that have long been out of print are on Scribd. You feel me? And so I got caught up in there one night. Like when I say got caught up in there, I must have downloaded 40 fucking books. Like they have whole ass books on Scribd that you can download. You have to subscribe, and the subscription isn't that much, like I don't know, $10 a month, $5 a month, something like that. Anyway, they didn't have this book. So I was like, okay, well, let me try to find a book. But I was combing through there trying to find the Odus about the Iyami Aj in relationship to the white world. Because I had heard this thing many, many years ago. I even talked to a few priests recently about it, trying to see if they had the 411, and even they didn't know what I was talking about. So, anyway, um, uh, yeah, there is like a, I guess it's like one of the Chad. uh, this book was published in 2014. Uh, the name of the publishing company, y'all, is Oyas Tornado. The name of the publishing company is Oyas Tornado, y'all. The name of the company is Oyas Tornado, and then I guess they're like when you have like a like a catchphrase under your title. Their catchphrase is "books to blow your mind." Ah! I love it. Books to blow your mind. I love it. Let's see. Oh shoot. Uh, yeah. I want to say something out loud before I forget because it's been on me for a while. Actually, for maybe 3 weeks. But as soon as the thought would come into my mind was as soon as it would like leave. And so while I'm thinking about it, I want to put this out. Don't think, as a matter of fact, I know I'm not going to add anything to the conspiracy, as it were, but because the conspiracy is very all encapsulating and broad, um, I want to add something to the ritual, not to the conspiracy. Okay, and so I'm gonna have to look through some things to see exactly what it is specifically I'm going to add to the ritual. But I will just say this, okay? So you remember how we prepped the ritual? Remember we downloaded the creed and did what we did to the creed and bound the creed. Well, you know how over the years, especially when I started doing the teaching like the workshops on America's First Pluto Returns and all of that stuff, it occurred to me, I've been thinking about it off and on for a while, but then given the events of the last 2 weeks, I have been feeling the need to add something to the ritual that is uh, that is like equal, if you will, to the creed. Okay, so we as a part of the ritual, I had you either print out or write out the creed. Do what you did to the creed, roll it away from you, bind it. Excuse me, and then we're doing the thing. But again, given the occurrences of the last 2 weeks in particular, and I'm always talking about the quote unholy trinity. You dig? Do y'all dig? The unholy trinity. You feel me? Um, Even though May 20th and its focus was the 1700th anniversary of the creed, right? Of the council that calls the creed. But in my thinking over the last 2 weeks, and of what the empire looked like at that time, it's not just about that institution, the Roman Catholic Church. It's not just about that institution. That there were progenitors and pregenitors to even the Christian Church up in the council. Because it, like, I don't know why it didn't occur to me sooner. There were people, males, 318 males to be exact, from all over the known conquered Roman Empire at that time. So there were Hebrews in the council, there were Asians in the council, there were Arabs in the council, there were Nordic people in the council. There were 318 men behind locked doors from May 20th to August 25th. And I was so hyper focused because of like the prophecy about the church, and the Pope had just died and he'd been planning to do this thing and all of this shit around the church taking up space, that I was like, I've been talking about the implications of the unholy trinity for some time, 5 years. Not only the hidden holy Roman Empire, you know what I'm saying, with the same old Roman imperial objectives, but it just occurred to me, all this mess that's been happening since 2022. What year is it? 2025, 2023, that has culminated in this thing that's happened over the last 2 weeks. You feel me? I was like, oh no, that was short-sighted of me. We need to be adding something that is equivalent to the creed from these other two institutions that make up the unholy trinity. One, the progenitor to Catholicism, and one, the progenitor to Catholicism. You understand what I'm saying? Am I clear enough without being too clear? Am I clear enough without being too clear? So give me tonight to figure out what I am going to have you guys print out or write out as the equivalent to the creed, the Nicene Creed, so that we can add this to our ritual and the reciting of the conspiracy through to August 25th. You feel me? So for when we did the event, when we did the ceremony on November 19th, on top of that damn mountain, you feel me? We did a lot. And the recitation of the conspiracy to right our wrongs, it's a lot, but it's no, but it's spread out. But we did it on November 19th, the night that Pluto finally entered, stationed direct in its conjunction in Aquarius for the first time in 248 years on November 19th, just a couple of weeks after your old boy got elected. Baby, we was up in that mountain doing motherfucking work, okay? And what we did was multi-layered. And part of what we did was we took them those four religions are the biggest religions on earth. Those four religions are still the largest religions on earth. So anyway, all of that to be said, I have all those books at the house. That's why I was able to do that. I know everybody don't have all four of them books in their house. So I am going to figure out the four books are the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, and the Torah. The Holy Trinity, the Abrahamic religions, and then the additional one that is at least the oldest consistently practiced religion on earth, which is Hinduism, the Bhagavad Gita. So anyway, I wanted to put that out before I forgot. No, Hinduism. The Bhagavad Gita is Hinduism. I wanted to put that out before I forget. because given what has happened, and then given the freaking chat, I can't. When I tell you, it's so hard. Let me just make this announcement too. I don't know if any of my European friends, my European descendant friends, is up on here, but if you are white and you follow my channel, I'm going to need you to yoke up your motherfucking peoples. I'm gonna need you to yoke your peoples up. If you is about that life, I need you to yoke up your peoples, particularly those of the uterine carrying persuasion. Particularly those of the uterine carrying persuasion. I done heard so much madness coming out of the mouths of white women this week till I cannot. I cannot with y'all. So I'm gonna need you people who swear that you about that life. I'm talking about white folks, that you swear you about that life, that you stand with the people, come hell or high water, honey. Your assignment before any other assignment, before going out there yelling at the police, before you're going out there and protesting on some hell no we won't go. The first thing, your first assignment, is a matter of fact, every day from now on, is to yoke up your folk. Yoke up your people, child. And once you yoke them up, muzzle them. Put a muzzle on their mouth, child, so that they cannot continue to spill bullshit out into the atmosphere. Muzzle them, child, so that they do not continue to spill bullshit into the atmosphere. Okay? You cannot convince me that y'all are this stupid. I know better. You feel me? And it took me a long time to reckon that whole thing about quote automatically saying somebody crazy or they ignorant or they stupid or they don't know no better. That's been a great weapon. That's been a really strategic and great weapon. But now we know better. We know what weaponized incompetence looks like. Deliberately playing stupid, deliberately feigning ignorant, deliberately feigning ignorant. I heard this girl talk yesterday, a white girl on YouTube, talking about the history of white women who have been extraordinarily malignant and violent, and all they have to do is, take up the mantle of, what is she called? Naive. That naive has saved many a white woman's life. Feigning naivety when they do something extraordinarily diabolical, feigning the poor innocent, just didn't know better. I've always been naive. That thing has allowed them to get away with the most treacherous and evil and diabolical and malignant shit ever imaginable. And she went down the list. This white woman went down the list of white women who had done extraordinarily tyrannical shit to human beings and literally walked away scot-free because she could feign ignorance. She could play the poor innocent. I just didn't know, but I didn't know. I didn't know better. That thing. As she's doing monstrous shit. Y'all, this video had me up in here. I'm telling you, on the brink of tears. I couldn't. These women who have always been able to enthusiastically participate in the suffering of others and at the same time always avoid blame for that active and enthusiastic and extraordinarily violent participation in the harm caused to others. Always, 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 always. So you who are white-skinned and you are about that life, and I believe that some of you really are, your first and permanent assignment, if you have me to, it's your permanent assignment. Prove to me you about that life. Take it upon yourself and within your spirit that your first assignment every day until we change the world is to yoke up the most malignant of yours, is to yoke up and muzzle the mouths of the most malignant of yours. Because every time they open their mouths, they are polluting the environment. Child, if you had me tell it, they are the ones responsible just by opening their mouths for the hole in the ozone layer. Want to heal the hole in the ozone layer? Muzzle their mouths. That's just the starting point. Want to heal the hole in the ozone? Put a bit in their mouth and lock that bitch like a chastity belt. Don't open it again. Don't open it again. Because I talked about this maybe actually several times since this whole conflict orchestration in the Middle East with Palestine began. How the quote fair-skinned of the fair-skinned of the so-called chosen people, the fair uterine possessors of the so-called chosen folk. Some of the shit I have seen these women do and heard these women say and have the absolute most insane like violence in their eyes when they say it, and this evil kind of smile partnered with it. Like whoever came up with that saying, he'll have no fury like a woman scorned, they was talking specifically about that. Some of the most monstrous things I've heard, some of the most extraordinarily wicked shit I have heard coming out of these people's mouths since October 7th. I'm talking specifically, we've come to expect certain behavior from man folk, but I'm talking about them people who are responsible for the procreation of this ideology in the flesh through their offspring. Some of the shit I've heard, I'm like, you can't, And over this last few days, this last 4 or 5 days since this aggression, stepped up about 10, 15, 20 notches. Oh my God. I heard this woman talking. And just when I think I cannot be surprised by people, one of them opened their mouth and I am shocked beyond imagination. Just when I think, man, can't nobody shock me no more. I'm convinced of it because I can just see how devilish people are and how inhumane people are and I ain't just talking about them. I'm talking just about them right now. But I ain't said nothing no different than what I said about some of us that look just like us under the guise of being mad about Kamala saying the most insane shit out of our mouths, reconciling the most wicked behavior in the modern era. Because you got an attitude because people didn't go and vote for a semi-black bitch who is a straight up genocidal supporter and lunatic and would have said the same shit Obama would have done had she been sitting in the White House right now. Y'all convinced that somehow your motherfucking life was going to change by her being in office. Y'all are convinced because you got short-term memory or didn't read in the first place that she was going to somehow cause less damage and brutality than your beloved Obama did. He was a tyrant. He wasn't just a tyrant. He had a whole war criminal cabinet. Y'all ain't have no problem with Obama, despite the fact that Hillary Clinton was a known war criminal. Y'all ain't had no problem with her being up in his cabinet. Y'all ain't had no problem with that. Despite the fact that you know that her husband is direct and the cracker y'all put in office, Biden, was directly responsible for a 400% increase in the incarceration of women, black women. Clinton's administration did that. Not Bush Sr., not Bush Jr., Clinton in his one term was responsible for the militarization of the police. If you see a cop with an AK-47 or an assault rifle or these freaking military grade helicopters flying all over the city, Your beloved Bill Clinton, your saxophone playing ass Clinton did that shit. And even as your beloved Obama sat up in that White House and literally rained hell on the black community, y'all still ain't got nothing bad to say about it, but you convinced somehow that negress, that Negro adjacent woman, who half her ancestry is Indian people, who hate black people and who hate black American people in particular. You really convinced that something significantly different was going to happen in your life as a consequence of this Negro. I'm going to always call her a Negro adjacent. She was just Negro adjacent enough to win the heartstrings of 86% black-skinned registered voters up in this bitch. And I'm sorry, I know I ain't really going hard on y'all like that, because I get it. This is the only thing that you see in front of you that can offer you some semblance of hope that shit gonna be a little bit better. Just a little bit. Feel me? Meanwhile, the little bit better that you get is gonna be some motherfucker standing up in front of you playing basketball and giving the black fist pound to his dark-skinned wife. You feel me? He's suave and swaggadocious. You feel me? Even though as he was running, he was talking cash shit about black folks, promising everything to everybody else. And when it came to us, all he could do was talk shit. Well, y'all need to start having so many motherfucking babies. I ain't lying. I'm not lying. Do y'all not remember his first bid? Well, you know, if y'all dress better, you feel me? We ain't talking about that, Obama. We talking about all this shit you done promised to the white collar worker, the blue collar worker, you feel me? All this shit you done promised to Wall Street, all this shit you done promised to everybody. What are the promises that you gonna make to us? Well, I can't promise nothing to y'all. Lord, that wouldn't be right now, would it? Y'all still ran out and voted for that motherfucker. Not only that, he still can do no wrong. The greatest theft of black collective wealth since the end of slavery happened in the 2 terms this Negro sat in office. So I'm sorry. I know I'm going off right now and it wasn't intended, but this is a word for today. Because I have heard, and the reason I even got on that is because I have heard to this day, with every aggression that Trump makes, I have heard black-skinned women out their mouth say the most monstrous shit. I'm sorry. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Y'all, we have to be better. We have to do better. Even as I agree with y'all. I wouldn't be telling nobody else to go out and demonstrate if my ass ain't going out and demonstrating. But the reason my ass ain't going out and demonstrating is strategic. It's not freaking reactionary. The reason I won't go out and protest is not because, well, they didn't do nothing for us, so I ain't gonna do nothing for them. That's some dumbass shit. Because I'm trying to tell you, the thing that they are doing to brown-skinned people, this is their testing ground. Let's see exactly how much we can get away, because we can't be overt right out the gate in who we targeted. Black people have always been the primary target of immigration issues in everywhere on earth, not just here. Not just here. And I ain't talking conjecture. I'm talking about what I have seen with my own eyes, with my own goddamn eyes, going to Europe 6 weeks in a row, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go do outreach in England, go do outreach in Belgium. And every time you go past an immigration office, there ain't nothing but black-skinned people standing in a line from 4 o'clock in the motherfucking morning until 5 o'clock in the evening, trying to get their life together, even as they have been wooed by Europe to come on over here. You know, people from the empire, people from the colony. We want all the colonies to come on over here. We'll give y'all good jobs. The reason that there's so many black-skinned people in Europe is because Europe needed cheap-ass labor after the Second World War. That was the only reason that all them people from the colonies, all them people from the islands, all them people from Central and South America came in droves, was because they needed somebody to rebuild their Europe. They wasn't going to do it. Let's get all these people from the colonies, Jamaicans and Trinidadians. Let's just call them up, call them to the mother. It was a whole campaign. Call them to the motherland. That's what they called Europe. We gonna call all the colonies to the motherland. Because we need somebody to rebuild our precious motherfucking Europe, and we ain't gonna do it. So we'll pay y'all pennies on the dollar to come and rebuild our shit. And then when y'all done rebuilding our shit, rebuilding our infrastructure, rebuilding our roads, rebuilding everything, then we'll start putting up policies to make it impossible for you to continue to live here and try to get your ass the fuck up out of here. I'm telling you, man. I done met brothers and sisters from all over goddamn Europe. Brothers born and raised in fucking Sweden, whole ass Swedish accent and everything, dark as the day is long. Black people in Sweden are the only people in Sweden who have a curfew. After you finish working, nigga, take your ass home. We better not catch you in the street. That's right now today. Black people who live in Sweden are under permanent curfew. Your ass is always the target. They may do shit to other people along the way to see exactly what they can get away with without directly. They don't want to seem overtly racist towards black people. So they have to test the little shit out on other people and see exactly how much they can get away with before they levy the whole weight of their aggressions on us. I'm trying to tell you, and I told y'all that last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. My ex-husband was in jail in the largest immigration detention facility in the country to this day in Pennsylvania. Call him literally for the 3 years that he was in prison, saying, babe, keep enough money on your phone. I keep meeting these brothers and sisters, and they all in the detention center is child, quote, unisex. So they grab your ass up. You don't have the right. You don't have what they call the writ to habeas corpus. You don't have any rights. No phone call, no lawyer. They can literally gank your ass up off the road, disappear you, never report your absence to your family. This ain't today. This was in 2008 when I got married. This is in 2008 when I got married. And the majority, 89 to 99%. It's bullshit. Child, the majority, the overwhelming majority of men and women locked up in that facility were dark-skinned motherfuckers like me, not Mexicans, not others. Us. And that was in 2008. That wasn't today. This shit with them attacking, not just in York, Pennsylvania, which is the largest detention facility in this country right now today. Not just York. Every time we hear people talking about, them illegals is crossing the border, the southern border, and all of that shit, and all you see is brown skinned people. You feel me? Because there's something strategic that they want you to see, and only seeing Mexicans that they quote are quantifying as those terrible illegals coming across the border. They only want you to see Mexicans because they know you Negroes do not see yourself in them. So you ain't gonna take the righteous position. You're not gonna do that. You will be the same one talking about, well, they go come over here and take our jobs. I heard it. I lived in Florida. In Florida, there are more Mexican immigrants in Florida and now in the South, Georgia, Alabama. Who you think working all them goddamn them farms, all that agricultural shit in the Southeast, in the 5 Bible Belt states? Do y'all think it's y'all? Do y'all think it's black-skinned people? Y'all can sit here in real time and acknowledge the impact that the convict prison leasing system had on black people and be completely oblivious to the fact that the shit still exists, and that in the 5 Bible Belt South states, they still use convict prison leasing for the agricultural industry in the South, and lease Mexicans to the agricultural industry in the South. I'm not telling you no shit I have not seen with my own eyes. So they know that when they show you just Mexicans, when they just show you Mexicans on the TV as the problem with immigration, They are hiding because they cannot afford for you to identify with Mexicans. That they know they cannot afford for you to identify with the suffering and the fucked up conditions Mexican people have to exist under. And I'm not talking about your petty bourgeois Mexican people who do the same shit to they people that white people do. That ain't who I'm talking about. That's not who I'm talking about. That's not who I'm talking about. But you see Mexicans crossing the border, first of all, into their own shit. Now, my position has always been, I don't give a fuck. My position is always, yes, come get your shit. Come get your shit. Come get your shit. I'm talking about Mexicans. Come get your shit. God damn it. The fuck is wrong with y'all? You want what you want for you, but you would look at people who are today suffering the way your people did just 80 years ago and do not identify with their suffering. But I want to tell you something. Do not get bamboozled by these white ass people. Do not do that. Do not become a political opportunist. Do not do that. Do not betray your own integrity. You, as Black people, have always had a high level of integrity, even as they wouldn't let you read. You didn't need to be smart to have integrity, never needed it. You didn't have to go to school to have integrity, you never needed it. That the giant in you always taught you to take the right position, to take the right side, to do the right thing. The giant in you always won you to that without no information. If my enemy is my slave master, then anybody that my slave master is targeting, they ain't my enemy. I'm naturally siding with them. I don't give a fuck. They might be fucked up in the head. They might say fucked up shit. And my unity with them may be conditional. Like, it may be conditional. Like, I ain't gonna go out and march on no motherfucking street. But I tell you what, everything else that I do is going to be in alignment with them. Because there ain't no in between, bitch. There ain't no fucking in between right now. There is no fucking in between. It's black or white. The line is drawn. The shit is certain. The shit is clear. That if you take a position like, I'm going to drink Starbucks because I feel betrayed because you didn't vote for my favorite Negro, that is madness. It's madness. It's madness. Because what you have done, taking an attitude about your favorite Negro or your favorite Negress, as you have sided with the state, you have sided with your oppressor, you have sided with the white man, you have sided with the billionaire class, you have sided with, because I'm always telling you, every last one of us, I don't care who it is, everything wrong with your life is because billionaires exist. And if it's because billionaires exist, and I can show you a map like the thumbnail when I talked about the shit, that every single solitary state in the union, the richest person in every state is some billionaire, and 30% of those are Jewish. But you got a problem with Mexicans coming across the border to get their own shit. You got a problem with Mexicans coming across the border to seize possession of that which was outright stolen from them just 125 years ago. Listen, please don't do that. Because the reason they want you to look at Mexicans and not identify with them, the reason that they want to always just put the face of Mexican people on these TVs, every time you see ICE, ain't nobody even said nothing about the fact that that every time you see ICE anywhere, child, oh Lord have mercy. Every time you see ICE, it don't matter where it is, that they Mexicans or they Negroes. I ain't seen maybe 2, 3. Every time you see footage of ICE, maybe 2 or 3 in the whole 2 weeks, I done seen white boys. Every time you see ICE agents, they Mexican or black. When I tell you, y'all is getting played. Ain't nobody even talking about this anomaly. Why is always they recruiting black ass people? Why is always they recruiting Mexicans to go and act like slave catchers? Why they doing that? Why they doing that? Y'all mad because the 2 Mexican kids who knew the cop called the cop the N-word. Child, why I got an attitude? I ain't gotta have no attitude about 2 Mexicans recognizing that his ass is a slave catcher. As soon as he put a uniform on, bitch, I don't give a fuck who he is. I don't give a fuck who he is, who his people name is. That's my personal opinion. Fuck on. Anybody wearing a uniform is a bitch ass nigga. Have me tell it. Anybody who sides with the state, and that ain't about their skin. That's about their goddamn mentality. That's about what they are willing to do to prove their allegiance and their loyalty to the state, even as they ass oppressed. Every time. I mean, even Negro cops. How are you gonna be a cop when every time you turn around, some Negro cop, some Negro FBI agent is having to sue their own organization because members of their own organization racially profiled them, shot them, beat them up, and then they was like, "Oops, our bad. We didn't know he was FBI. Oops, our bad. We didn't know he was a police." Like that's the excuse. Oops, our bad. We ain't know. We thought he was just a regular ass nigga. And your ass gonna stay on the force. Your ass gonna think it's just an anomaly peculiar to you. Them kids wasn't wrong. They should have called him everything but a child of God. Fuck them. Because that's some sleight of hand shit. They don't have you out here getting mad, having your feelings all hurt in the heart cavity over a pig. Because he happened to be a Negro pig. Child, y'all better stop playing. Y'all better stop playing. Y'all better stop playing. All these Mexican people that are coming across the border, and y'all mad every time y'all see some Mexican person crossing the border. Y'all don't have no feelings whatsoever towards all these people whose homes are being ransacked with no warrants, no ID. And y'all like, well, they earned that. No. That ain't no different than what they did to your black ass in the goddamn continent. Just rounding your ass up with no explanation or nothing. You, your babies, your old people, and everybody, and hauled your ass off somewhere. They literally taking these people to countries they've never been in. Y'all cannot do that, man. Y'all can't do that. Y'all cannot do that. That is criminal. What is happening to this population is not just criminal, it is fucking genocidal. To be holding people in downtown LA and not holding them in a courthouse where they don't have nowhere where they can, locking them, y'all, in cages below the motherfucking courthouse where they don't have the opportunity to take showers, and they're screaming in this bitch begging for fucking water. Black people cannot be doing that. Ain't no fucking position you can be taking. That is not no fucking position you can be taking. Period. And the other thing is they knew you would take it. They knew you would take it. They knew you would do it. And the problem is every time you say something fucked up about some quote brown person coming across the border, what they don't show, because they only show you what they want you to see. That's it. Mexican people are not the only people coming across the border fighting for their fucking lives for something that resembles an existence, escaping places that the United States, in allegiance with these goddamn cartels, have put these people's lives in fucking jeopardy. And so they literally have to be running for their lives from these places where the United States' policies are literally chasing them out their countries. Literally chasing them out their countries. And guess what? You don't see them because this propaganda do not want you to see them, because if you saw them, your ass would relate. You wouldn't just relate. You would be raining holy hell on the state as we speak. That damn near a third of the people running for their lives coming into the border are black-skinned fucking people. Blacker than me, black-skinned people. Ask me how I know, because I've been doing work with these goddamn populations since I got to California in 2018. Your ass is being lied to. It is your political opportunism that has you saying shit that's no different than the white nationalists who live down the street from you. Y'all, I'm not lying to you. Do you know that the majority, we think it's Florida, the majority of Haitian immigrants coming into this country are coming in through Southern California, crossing the border in fucking Mexico. The majority of Haitian people running for their lives, y'all, are black-skinned, nappy hair, big nose featured ass people who look just like your mom and them. They don't want you to see them though crossing the border, because then you would be like, oh my God, look at what they're doing to our people. And you would be right to do that. but they knew you would not see yourselves in the suffering of Mexican people. They played your ass like a fiddle, is what they did. The majority of people right now today, still Pennsylvania, Chicago, what's the other big one? DC, South Florida, these major ass detention facilities that have been around forever, New York, forever, 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 forever. The majority of the people being held hostage in these bitches is black as you. Is black as you. Is black as you. So this shit, I told you, it's chess, baby. It's chess. They are making a fucking display, a public spectacle of rounding up indigenous people. When I say indigenous people, I mean Mexicans. When I say indigenous people, I mean El Salvadorians. When I say indigenous people, I'm talking about all the way down to the tip of motherfucking South America. Had me out here no goddamn political opportunists. I'm talking about wherever they come from this whole one continent that was split apart by somebody else who don't even belong the fuck up over here. Y'all cannot do that, y'all. Y'all cannot, man. I know your little emotions is sensitive. I know you feel betrayed. I know you feel betrayed. I get why you feel betrayed. But do not let your greatest enemy, the one who is solely responsible for your suffering, the billionaire class that has literally staged a coup on the United States. And after the coup was successful, then its first order of business before the year, child, we just now into the first half of the goddamn year. And its first order of business was, how can we quickly thrust this bitch into a conflict that'll make us billions and billions and billions of more dollars? Wars are financial institutions. They ain't got shit to do with conflict, baby. Not for none of these heads of states that are involved. War has nothing to do with the shit they saying out your mouth to get you all energetically riled up either way about the conflict. I'm trying to tell you, Ukraine, Russia, Iran, Israel, anywhere war is. It is a financial investment before it is anything else. It is an economic investment through which those who organized the wars, make out like extraordinary bandits after the war is done. What you just saw happen in Palestine, what you see is happening in Iran, is no different than when you live here in the United States, right? Somebody buys some property, you feel me? Like massive property, you feel me? Like a high-rise building or some shit like that. And they're like, well, we want to buy the building. And then after we buy the building, we gotta have what do they call it? A demolition. We gotta have a demolition. You understand? Because we can't build nothing if something already there. We gotta demolish it first. But we need to build something totally and radically new. So we gotta, quote, demolish the building. We gotta buy the building, then we gotta demolish that shit. War allows you to do the demolition without buying shit, without investing in the community around it. It just allows you to run through that motherfucker so you can build something totally new. And then all the investors for rebuilding infrastructure in them areas make out like monstrous bandits. This is what you are watching in real time. This white boy's first order of business was to set up his plays in a way that within his first 6 months of his term, he could this Mr. No More Wars. That's what he ran on. Mr. No More Wars. No more wars ain't got nothing to do with us. His first order of business, baby, was how can we get directly involved in this conflict that has been sustained under Biden for a couple of years? How can we go ahead and kick this shit into overdrive? We already allowed a billionaire class to literally stage a coup on this flimsy ass institution anyway. So y'all don't be crying crocodile tears about the Supreme Court or none of that shit. I say, you know what, white boy, go ahead and trash it all. There's less work for us to do when we rebuild this shit. When we rebuild a nation in our own image and with our own interest at the center. Go ahead, white boy. Level it all. Undo the Constitution, god damn it. Go ahead. Undo the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, because anything that they have done and constructed off the blood of human beings, we can build better, and not just better, a million times better. Go ahead, boy. Run through this shit. Because we ain't never going to do it. We going to hold on to this rotten ass institution for forever. Still claiming, and man, I just heard Whoopi Goldberg the other day making really valid points about everything else. And then she go, I know, we got a lot of problems, but America still is the greatest country on earth. In what universe, bitch? Why y'all keep saying that? Everybody, not just us, not just black people, child, white people been hightailing it out this motherfucker for decades. There are what was the last number I heard? 2.5 million white people who are permanent residents or living illegally in Mexico. Please stop saying that. Please stop. What is your child? How do you come to the conclusion? What are your metrics for determining and making a declaration that America is the greatest country on earth? What is your metrics? What's that shit based on? When you can go right now on YouTube, because I did it last night, and find out the first states, they already got like a million videos. Child, they ain't wasting no time. This conflict that kicked it up a notch for just the last few days. Child, they already got about 1,000 videos on YouTube about which states is gonna get it first. Which states is gonna collapse the first when this shit level up. When this shit level up, because it's about to. When this shit increase and level up, when that checkmate is played on July 4th, like I've been telling y'all for 2 weeks, when this checkmate get played, when this checkmate get dropped on the United States, all of these videos I'm watching back to back last night. If you in this state, if you in these states, if you in these top 10 states, you might need to consider moving. Is one of the damn videos. And then it wasn't like just, oh, here's the states. It was talking about economically how the level of instability that's been ongoing in these states for some time, how the failure of state infrastructure. They were talking about all of that, the poverty rate, the unemployment rate. That when this shit go down, if you live in one of these states, you might need to go ahead and get your ducks and go find some people now to stay with. Go find some family to stay with, because these top 10 states, they gonna get it first. They already completely unstable. Completely unstable. They did cities, top 10 cities, top 10 states, top 10 places to move before the lights go out. I said, God damn. You understand what I'm saying? My city is one of them. My state is one of them. It's like, look, one video the dude was like, look, truth be told, the way this shit look over the last week, it might already be too late for you to pack your shit, bitch. You might need to learn how to station at home. You might need to learn how to pull your shit pull your shit together so you can hunker down in your crib and be good for a few months. God damn. You understand? So please stop doing that, black people. Please stop doing that. Please stop doing that. And I'll be honest. Maybe I shouldn't say this online. Yeah, maybe I should reserve this for a Zoom conference. But just please don't do that. Do not let the state make a betrayer of your humanity. Do not let the state do that. Do not let the state do that. Do not let the state make a betrayer of yourself to your own integrity. Do not do that. I don't give a fuck how mad you are. I'm not saying that you are not justified in your mad, but I'm saying that the object of yo, I'm mad, I got an attitude, baby, don't let her be it. Just really don't. Just don't. Yes, what that campaign did is to reveal those within our communities, those within those people, those other oppressed people in our vicinity, the level of betrayal, you know what I'm saying, that they are willing to go to side with their whiteness. But when you say that, when you say fuck y'all, you are not talking. Who you looking at that you mad at is not the same people who are suffering as a consequence of their vote. You hear what I just said? The people who you are mad at, do you understand? They are not the people that are suffering as a consequence of the way they quote levied they vote. Because at the end of the day, none of y'all voted for anybody. I'm just trying to give y'all a word. Y'all gonna be mad about it if you want to. I'm just telling you. Your vote has never mattered. It's never put a president in office. The system of voting is a metric. It is a metric that they have to keep an eye on because this metric from term to term tells them how much confidence you still have in the state. How do we need to organize? How can we be strategic to make sure that they only see their salvation in this process of illusion that we put before them? I'm trying to tell you something. The only reason Obama was put forward is because they said that for the first time in the history of the country, faith in the electoral process was obliterated. Why? Because everybody watched in real time how they know they voted and how they know the majority of people voted and watched George Bush steal two elections, and they Democratic candidates both times didn't even stage a contest, didn't even buck back. Sound familiar? Yo, Bernie Sanders did the same thing. Bernie Sanders did the same thing. Who was the dude who ran against Bush the first time? It wasn't Dole. It was oh, what is his name? I can see his ugly ass face in my mind's eye. I can't even remember. But when I tell you, even though in real time, the way the elections was going, and I'm telling you all that bullshit, even with the faulty voting machines, child, this shit is a play. I bought the book. It ain't got here yet, but I just told you. What's his name? What's his name, man? Damn. Um, is it Brzezinski, Brignew, something like that? The author of the Grand Chessboard. He's like, yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny that people still think their vote matters. It really counts. Honey, by the time our president is born, we already know who we are going to put in office. And then we groom them to take that office. And then we put them out. We march them out in front of you to make you feel like you did your electoral duty. You know what I'm saying? Your democratic duty. You did not put Obama in office. You didn't. Wall Street put Obama in office. If you want me to be a little bit deeper than that, George W. Bush put Obama in office. Okay? And so you sitting up here mad because they show you polls to get you mad. They show you polls to put you and white people at odds. They show you polls to put you and Mexican people at odds when none of y'all put none of these motherfuckers in office. Not a one. Not a one. Not since day one. They said that last term of Bush that the majority of people becoming of age to vote, more than 80% of them said, we ain't voting. This shit's some bullshit. How a motherfucker can steal an election 2 times in a row, then thrusted us into 2 wars, that we ain't asked for, that millions of people around the country, ask me how I know, because this is the year that I joined the party. My first real demonstrations. Thousands and thousands and thousands of us at the gates of MacDill Air Force Base every week for months and months and months and months and months, because it was the headquarters of the aggression that was about to be levied against Afghanistan. And when's the last time? Let me ask you this. When's the last time in your lifetime, not even in a long lifetime, in your lifetime, with as many big ass quote rebellions, quote demonstrations, quote movements that have happened just since we entered the year 2000, how many of them have been successful? I'll wait. How many movements that done had millions and millions and millions and not just here in the United States, around the globe? Child, they said there was more than 1.5 million Korean people marching with banners about George Floyd at the height of that thing. Tell me, what did it win? What did it win? Has there been a singular? Same thing for man, ooh, Mike Brown. What in the hell is wrong with my head? I can see this child's face in my mind's eye as clear as day. The baby that got killed by George Zimmerman. Him. Who else? Um, Sandra Bland. Who else? What Trayvon Martin. Thank you so much. Ooh. Who else? The baby that got killed playing with a toy gun in the park. What was that baby name? Who was like 9 or 10 years old. What was that baby name? Yes, Philando Castile. Who else? The sister. What's her name? It was this. I think it was the same year as George Floyd. Tamir Rice. Thank you so much, Vayoni, the young baby that got killed in the park. The sister who got killed on her couch. She an EMT. They kill her on her house, on her couch, going to the wrong motherfucking house, and then try to frame her, saying that she tried to shoot them, and that's the only reason they shot into the house. Breonna Taylor, thank you. The list goes on. This is just since we entered 2000. This is every single one of these things that then jumped off that is in thousands and 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 thousands of people in the street. Tell me what has changed. Tell me what any one of these so-called movements have accomplished, except a deepening of the aggressions by the state on the heads of Black people in particular, and Black, brown, and red people in general. This city alone, in the last decade, in the last 10-year period, has killed over 700 freaking Black and brown people, and y'all don't know nothing about it. What was the last Christmas? 2 Christmases ago. Shoot a baby on Christmas Eve in a department store under the guise of addressing a domestic violence dispute in a department store, and they come in there like what you call it, like the armed military. Christmas Eve, where people are shopping, the man hit his wife. Somebody called the police. They sent 6 officers into a police department with complete, like, not riot gear, like live rounds on Christmas Eve, and one of them gets spooked and hears something and fire, and so all the other ones start firing, and a baby in the dressing room catch a stray bullet. Baby 6 years old, murdered by the fucking police on Christmas Eve. This was 2 years ago. LAPD done killed more than 700 people in the last decade. I'm telling you, more than 700 people in the last decade. Me and my homeboy had to do the goddamn math. We had to do the math. Do you know what math we use to compare what has happened just in the city? More than 700 people murdered by the cops. Not the county, the city of LA. I think it was like 726 was the last number I heard. I was like, God damn, if I see like that, those numbers cannot be right. We go and find the statistics on the internet of people, because cops don't keep statistics of how many people they kill for a reason. The feds do not keep these records for a reason, because y'all have been burnt this bitch to the ground if you knew how frequently they murder people and then cover it up. And so we had to do the math. I was like, 700 people in a 10-year span of time. So you know what we compared it against? We compared it. Me and the brother that I've interviewed on here a couple of times, me and Abasi sat here and crunched the numbers, child. How many people on average a day, like at the height of lynching, taking all those numbers combined, and the year span that was put up on the internet as the peak years span of lynchings in the United States. Of those peak years, I forget what the years were, but of those peak years of lynching, which I think was like the early 1900s to like the 1930s, or like the end, like the last decade of the 1800s into around the 1930s, this peak period, And we divided the number of people who had been killed in that peak period from lynching, and then divided it by the number of days in a year. And then we did the same thing for this one decade in one city in the United States to see how many people a day have been killed by LAPD in a 10-year period of time, and how many people a day had been killed at the height of lynching. And at the height of lynching, I think it was like, I think the number that we came up with was like, damn, I should have saved it. But it was like 3 people a week. Something like for some reason that's standing out. I might have to do these stats all over again. But it was like 3 people a week for 10 years at the height of lynching, like at the peak. 3 people a week at the height of lynching, juxtaposed against the numbers of people that the police, LAPD alone, have killed within the LA city limits, not LA County. 700 at the time that we did it, 726 people. It was like a person a day in a decade were being killed by the LAPD. A person a day. Or something like that. Something crazy like that. A person, I forget. I got to crunch them numbers again. So, please do not let your enemy turn you into a political opportunist at best. At best, a political opportunist, and at worst, a genocidal what you call it, like a genocidal or genocidally complacent because that monstrous shit, with especially right after the election. Yeah, boo, I get it that you mad, but your knee-jerk response is to stream yourself driving through the drive-through of McDonald's to get your morning egg McMuffin, and then driving to Starbucks to get your morning Slurpee or whatever the fuck, and then be sitting in the chair with an attitude like, we ain't doing nothing no more. We ain't doing nothing no more. I ain't giving up nothing no more because I see how y'all do. Do not let your enemy turn you into a political opportunist at best, and a genocidal, and turn you into someone who default, like, unites with genocide. To know that Starbucks, being an institution that has admitted to contributing a third of its profits to the preservation of the Israeli state, that's always been hostile, and not just to Palestine. Man, what the hell is wrong with y'all? The Israeli state ain't just been hostile to Palestine. Child, if you're black in America, if your ass is black in the Northeast in particular, if your ass is black in New York, if your ass is black in Brooklyn, if your ass is black in the Bronx, if your ass is black in Chicago, honey, the Israeli state been kicking your asses, listen, covertly, but you see the impact of them in your motherfucking neighborhood. Don't nobody have to tell you the impact of their presence in your neighborhood. For 100 years, for 120 years. For 120 years, you've been robbed blind, abused as hell in your own hood by the same people who send a third of their income, no matter what they do in this country, a third of their income to the preservation of the same state that has been robbing you blind, for one. Every institution. You want to know why black culture and black music look the way that it look? That every giant that looked like you, that's done created something extraordinary in this bitch, die broke and ain't got no legacy to leave to their people now. It is because you, under the guise of being friends with those who you think got your same circumstances, because older poor them in the Holocaust, and you think y'all the same. You think y'all the same. Meanwhile, because you let them into your spaces on some, you marry them on some. Child, every Negro jazz musician, blues musician that we said was just married to a white woman, he was not married to just a white woman. They was not just, quote, white-skinned women. Child, Not one of them. Thelonious Monk, Charles Mingus, they were all Jewish women. They were all Jewish women. And the majority of them admitted in several different documentaries that their addiction to drugs started with their relationships with these, quote, white women. Heroin. Who you think gave heroin to jazz musicians? Who you think gave clean, crispy cut cocaine to jazz musicians? And then you welcome them into the spot and they become, quote, more revered in your craft than you, and you think it's just cultural appropriation. No, it was an orchestrated campaign to facilitate a more insidious version of the theft of your resources that made somebody rich at your fucking expense. And you say it's everything but what the fuck it is. If it had been them robbing your gold, you'd have been clear. But because they robbed your gifts, because damn, he played the saxophone like a nigga, she danced like a nigga. Damn, you can come hang out with me. Damn, you act just like us. When was it? Last year? It wasn't even last year. Well, technically it was last year when I did that whole live about it was deep because I was talking about the history. It was like a documentary I saw on YouTube, and it was about it was called the Black Clause or the Dark Clause or something like that, about the insurance, the life insurance scam in the music industry, where as soon as you sign a contract with a label, that there's a clause in it that allows them to take out life insurance policies on you that they are not required to get your signature for, that they own you, and they take out life insurance policies on all artists. You feel me? And they had the origin where the damn clause started. And so if at any juncture they see that you can make them more money dead than you can make them alive, then your ass will conveniently fucking die. And the creator of it not only was Jewish in 1913 with his imposition into these jazz circles, but that his ass ended up working for the state. His ass ended up working for the State Department. This Jewish jazz enthusiast who just became a record label owner. RCA, as a matter of fact. This same guy was the founder and creator of RCA. Same thing with movies. Same thing with anything where Black excellent people create and we can rob them easily. We can rob them. I just did that whole documentary. Not only his, because I don't remember this dude's name, but they had a whole graph of just this one dude in 1913 and his, quote, entry into the jazz world, right, to take it over and exploit it. That this one dude, right, they had a graph drawn, almost like a family tree, starting with his name and all of the strategic connections that he made in several different branches of the United States government to facilitate this radical theft of resources for the next 40 to 50 years. But it wasn't just him. He wasn't the only one that did that. In that same live, I told y'all I was shook as fuck. I was shook as fuck when I found out that the founder, the creator of the CIA, the creator of the CIA was a famous jazz musician. He loved jazz so much. And so he continued to make these, quote, strategic connections while he was a jazz musician. And all of his strategic connections were all Jewish jazz musicians. Glenn Miller, Dave Brubeck. This motherfucker created the CIA. What's his name? What's his name? Copeland. Was it Stan Copeland the second or something like that? Famous jazz drummer. How, and his claim, the reason anybody know who he is because all but one of his children, because he had a daughter too, all but one of his children became spies too. He was a spy. This creator of the CIA, he was a spy. And then when all his kids grew up, who were all raised, where was they raised? In where was they raised? Somewhere in the Middle East as spies. And once all his kids grew up, all of them but one became spies. The one who didn't become a spy but still love his family because that's his family is Stuart Copeland, the drummer for the band The Police that we all love. That divide the generation of rebel music, The Police. And then Stuart Copeland, he loves his people now. So he don't see no contradiction with his whole motherfucking family being spies. Even his mama was a British operative. Even his mama was a British operative. And so he creates a podcast that exists to this day called My Dad the Spy. And after his youngest brother, who too was a spy, supposedly just left the family business of being spies, bullshit, but supposedly left the business of being spies, he decided he wanted to go into the music industry too. But he don't want to be a musician. He want to facilitate a place for the artists to play and record music. So what does he do? He creates a music company called the IRS. And the logo for the IRS music label, started in England, is a little spy guy. And he signed some of the biggest acts of the 80s, not just 70s and 80s, because he played an integral role in the beginning of the punk rock scene in England. Yeah, he did. And then his little label, Spy Records, it was called IRS Records. And then it was like the little spy guy, and everybody just always called it short, Spy Guy Records. I remember this shit. And we always just thought it was like a cute little funny euphemism, the band, The Police, not knowing that they was actually the fucking police. they was actually the police. And his record label became a subsidiary of Sony Records. And I was all tripping when I told y'all about it, because I was like, is there nothing sacred? Do I just have to throw away all the music of my youth? Because it wasn't just them. I started with this whole, what I thought was just a conspiracy theory about what's it called? Something Canyon. Oh, right over here in LA. Fuck. But it hasn't changed at all. Everything is so cute and epic and like nostalgic looking and shit. But it's I can't remember the name of it. It's something Canyon. But how this place had become everybody knew it because this is where all the great artists were growing up and coming from. All the great artists were growing up and coming from it. So everybody thought it was this mystical thing about this Canyon, because all of these greats grew up there. Everybody was so awesome. Jim Morrison from The Doors grew up there. What's his name? Several of the members of the Mamas and the Papas grew up there. What's his name? He always had the big old mustache. He was big in the 60s. One of the defining musicians of the 60s. His ass grew up there. Who else? I mean, Frank Zappa grew up there. So all these giants who defined culture in the 60s and the 70s grew up over here in the Canyon. So everybody's like, damn, you hear stories of musicians talking about how everybody went to the Canyon because we just knew that there was something special about the Canyon. And so if we didn't grow up there, we wanted to be over there. And people were going from house to house to house and having parties because everybody that shaped the damn culture, what you call a hippie movement, everybody that shaped the culture had a relationship to this Canyon over here in LA. Literally 10 minutes from my house, if that. Baby, you know why they all grew up there? Because in the 40s and the 50s, There was a movement of people who worked for the government, the FBI, but primarily the CIA, started buying up property all over the canyon to raid Laurel Canyon. That thank you. FK FG FG Apothecary. Thank you, Laurel Canyon. I don't know why I couldn't come. Literally, I could walk to Laurel Canyon from my apartment. And the reason why everybody was just, quote, growing up there was because the CIA was buying up property like hotcakes over in the canyon to start having children and raising children. Sure enough. And everybody I just named, and that ain't everybody who grew up in Laurel Canyon, but everybody I just named, Jim Morrison, Frank Zappa, all this music that shaped my whole youth, because my daddy and them was musicians. So I always loved a wide ass, broad ass. As a matter of fact, there's stories. He didn't grow up there, but he had relationships to a lot of people in the canyon. Sly Stone spent so much time in the canyon. People was just like, that's how he got really put on and blew up, was because all these white musicians in Laurel Canyon loved Sly Stone. Does that have something to do with the fact that does that have something to do with the fact that he is now damn near homeless, living in a fucking van in the streets of LA, addicted to substance? Could that have something to do with it? All these relationships with all these people in the Laurel Canyon shit. Oh yeah, Sly Stone is homeless and broke. While his music to this day has been the most sampled music of any other artist on earth. And second to him, James Brown. The two most sampled musicians in the history of the music industry. One sleeping in a van in the streets of LA, homeless, and one is dead. And all of them, child, all the people I named, Jim Morrison, Frank Zappa. The Frank Zappa thing hurt my feelings, y'all. the Frank Zappa thing hurt my feelings. I ain't gonna lie. I love Frank Zappa. I did. Jim Morrison too, for that matter. But the Frank Zappa thing really, because he was so, like, not just the music, man. To watch old interviews of Frank Zappa, child, in the 70s, and he was giving motherfuckers hell. Like, he was brash about it too. Like, he hated the state. That was every time you heard him talk, he was like, fuck the police, I hate the state. Like, he was, but eloquently, you know what I'm saying? I'm giving you a hood rendition of the text that he would use when talking about the war and the state and the police and the aggressions against black and brown people and all of that shit. Child, all day peoples. Oh, he did just transition. Damn. Child, listen. As a matter of fact, just to mention the white girl that Sly Stone ended up in this long relationship with, she was the one that turned him out. He started using drugs as a consequence of meeting this girl, whoever the fuck her name was, the white girl. He got turned on by her. I heard the same thing, but anyway, child, all day people, Nim. Somebody mentioned MK Ultra earlier in FK and Laurel Canyon. There was a story I literally just heard. Who was telling this story? I don't remember what musician it was. An old head, just recently. Who was this that was telling the story about how Sly Stone had been fucking around with this woman that was older than them in Laurel Canyon, like having an affair with this woman in Laurel Canyon, and was it Zappa telling this story? I think it might have been Zappa, y'all. I saw it, like, this old video footage of this guy telling the story about Sly Stone and about somebody else. It was somebody else famous, and how they all used to go to the same house. Because they would hang out, they would do drugs, they would party, whatever. And Sly Stone came there a lot. And at first we thought, he's just a dope ass musician, so he coming to kick it. But he started getting real close with the older, she was like older than all of them, the older lady, and they ended up, like kicking it in the biblical sense. You feel me? And And then this other dude started hanging around, and he was, quote, a musician, but he was not good. He was very mediocre, but he seemed cool enough, and so he started hanging around. It was just always, like the house everybody would go chill at in the canyon, right? And something happened with Sly Stone and the dude that had started coming to hang out. And Sly was like, I don't like this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And so he told the woman, like, yo, like, don't let his ass come over here no more. And she was like, well, it is an open space. I just like to have people over here. And so he was like, cool. And so Sly stopped coming around. Sly stopped kicking it, right? Guess who the dude was? And he was like, I don't like this dude. Tell his ass he can't come over here no more. Guess who it was? What's his name? Guess who it was, y'all? Y'all don't ever guess. Y'all just, I don't want to be leaving y'all hanging, but like, guess. Child with Charles Manson. It was Charles Manson. I just heard the story. I think it was Frank. It was an old interview of Frank Zappa telling the story of how Sly Stone stopped kicking it with us over there because the weirdo that he didn't like, that everybody was like, yeah, he kind of weird, but it is an open space for everybody just come hang out. And so Sly was trying to pull his weight with the little chick that he was, kicking it with. It was like, yo, like, this dude is a weirdo. But you know why? You know why Sly was like, you know what? If you don't make this nigga leave, I'm not coming back. And Frank was like, that he didn't come back because he was the only black motherfucker in the space. And so his spidey senses was irritated. He was like, I can't put my hands on it, but I know enough that I don't like this dude. And if you ain't gonna make his ass stop coming over here, I'm gonna stop coming over here. And he stopped coming. I mean, come on, Dad. He the only one in the whole clique that was like, this dude off. Something ain't right with this motherfucker right here. Enough that his main squeeze, who owned the house, they never had no problem. He's like, look, tell him he can't come to your shit no more. She was like, I'm not gonna do that. Everybody comes over here and hangs out, and we smoke weed, and do all the things. And I enjoy listening to you guys play or whatever she said. She was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. He was like, all right, deuces, and did not come back. I'm telling you, melanin is your superpower. And your ass, they have been trying as hard as hell to train you and condition you away from trusting your spidey senses, trusting your elevated melanin, trusting your, quote, sixth sense. Child, listen, even fucked up on drugs, Sly was like, my mama taught me better than that. Y'all got it. I'll find somewhere else to kick it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Girl, Claudia, I cry. Okay. QB say, now, Iapo, now how you gonna name check me, QB? QB say, now, Iapo, how the hell would I have guessed that? Claudia Ankra say, but how they spidey senses don't work with white people. I don't know. I guess because he wasn't under the threat of murder necessarily. But when murder came around, he was like, nope, not this. No, this too much. This too much. This too much. And what in this interview, I think y'all are killing me with these comments. I think in the interview, Frank, if I'm not mistaken, Frank says something to the effect of, it wasn't too shortly after that Manson started kind of making a not so great name for himself in the city with the little commune on the outskirts of town. And it was shortly after that they went on a murder spree or whatever. But yeah, Sly was like, you know what I'm saying? White poon, okay. But now you got my spidey senses is on fire now. You got a serial killer up in here. Y'all got it. I don't know how I got on. I got on that because of this week and this shit I've been hearing white women say. All that whole thing, me telling y'all black people stop being political opportunists and stop siding with genocidal lunacy, stop siding with genocide because your feelings hurt about a lone black adjacent female. You understand? Please stop doing that. Just please, if you don't have anything progressive to say about your understanding in the situation, just don't say nothing. Just don't say nothing, because this thing that is happening under the guise of ICE and immigration, the target right now for strategic purposes to, quote, drive a wedge between you and your integrity, child. That's what it's for. That's what it's for. It is not about quote, people who here legally and got a right to be here. I'm telling you, it's not about that. I'm telling you that your ass is the target. And then I'm hearing white women all week, well, for the last few days since this thing been going down, that the first thing and they have to make it a white woman saying this shit. I have not heard a single white man. I have not heard a single other man say the thing that I have been hearing white women for the last 4 days say over and over and over and over and over like a mantra. I mean, we have to secure the safety of America, because God forbid, have you seen the conditions of the women in Iran? That's your go-to? That's real insidious. That's real snake-like shit, bitch. I'm telling you, every single white woman I have heard interviewed on the news this week on, quote, reputable news stations, their justification for bombing a whole nation becomes, I mean, they treat their women so terribly. Their women have no rights. It's just monstrous, the conditions that their women live under. This the conclusion that you come to justify what just happened this weekend? Even as you have silently or either enthusiastically watched Israel do a million times worse to the women and children of Palestine for 2.5 years, this the conclusion that you come to put out in the world as a mantra about why the attack against Iran was justified. That's, and you have to be white to say that. They have to put not only white, child, the prettiest, blonde hair, blue-eyed pictures of Republican perfection, because they can't just be white, and they can't just be pretty and white, and they can't just be blonde hair and blue-eyed white. They have to be conservative as well. Shirts strategically buttoned all the way up to the neck, talking about good Christian values. If anybody is going to talk about the conditions of the women in Iran, it needs to be out loud the women of Iran. Because even though the words that these white women are speaking are not incorrect about the conditions of the women in Iran, because we have been talking about that for years now. Do you understand? We have been talking about that for years now. But in the mouth of someone like that, it is a horribly violent and strategic weapon that has nothing to do about the safety and the sovereignty of women. Has nothing to do with the safety and the sovereignty of women. 0%. Because they weren't thinking about the safety and sovereignty of Palestinian women as they were murdering women and children in real time to this day. That wasn't nowhere on their radar. It wasn't nowhere on their tongue or talk. So that's what I meant when I opened up by saying white people that about that life. White people who are about that life. Please muzzle your sister. Yoke up and muzzle your sister. Go to go to the pet store and get bits for they fucking mouths with a little strap on it where you can lock that shit. Listen, muzzle their grills. Muzzle their grills. Muzzle their grills. Now I'm gonna talk to you for a minute. I meant to text this girl and I didn't. So I might have to end this because I I have a client that I meant to try to reschedule till tomorrow. So I'm going to talk to y'all fast since I done talked an hour. It was purposeful, but I still have to talk to y'all about this week, or I might just have to come back tonight. But let me tell you the books that I bought first, and then I'll just probably wrap it up because I don't want to rush through what I have to talk to you about. The new moon in Cancer is tomorrow. Do you understand? I told you that these weirdos is setting up they checkmate piece over the next several days, and we need to be prepared. And that's also why I started by saying we need to add some type of representation of the two brethren of the unholy trinity to this thing that we do. You feel me? I told you this is one of the books that I bought, right? It was Architects of Existence, IJ in Yoruba Cosmology, Ontology, and so on and so on. And then the next one, I didn't realize it's kind of like a I thought it was like a book, but it's like kind of a poetry book. And it's by Octavia Butler, and it's called A Few Rules for Predicting the Future. A Few Rules for Predicting the Future by Octavia Butler. I got it on thriftbooks.com. And it's gorgeous. It's like, I guess it's like a visual kind of essay thing because it's got beautiful artwork and stuff in here. I just did this today. These in here, I'm trying to do like a comprehensive kind of visual breakdown because y'all been kicking my ass about it, and rightfully so. So this is me actually working on it today. Y'all have been kicking my ass about doing a visual breakdown of the relationship of the planets to the Orisha and their characteristics and so forth. So I started that today in my little new book, right? And so I will be transposing this to probably like a PDF that I'll do the same thing, post it on my Etsy store. It won't be today. It'll probably be tomorrow, or maybe by Friday I'll be done because I'm going to finish working on it. But yeah, very comprehensive. And I still have one more, maybe even two, child, but at least one more of these little zodiacal charts to make, right? So this is the standard zodiacal chart, right? So it's like your Aries, Taurus, Gemini, the planetary rulers of each one. The little letters inside these circles are if they are mutable, cardinal, or fixed signs, so on and so forth. So that's the standard zodiacal chart. The stars here are a representation of those signs that historically have two planetary rulers. And then over here is the same thing as your standard zodiacal chart. So, man, trying to do this shit backwards is annoying. So there's Aries, Taurus, but underneath is the planet and the Orisha, the planet, the Orisha, the sign, and the planet. So there's more stuff that I'm going to put over there. So these 12 here are the Orisha that correspond with the signs and the signs and the planets. And so there are other things that I will be putting in there that is more based on Ifa cosmology. But this is the standard zodiacal chart, our annual zodiacal chart. This is the Orisha sign planet correspondence. Then I'm going to at least do one more, but maybe two more of these. One is going to be your standard zodiacal chart, but to demonstrate to you how this is your annual year, right? A great year, like the precession of the equinoxes, which goes in the other direction, and what that looks like and how that impacts us. And then the other thing I was going to do, it was the zodiacal chart, something else. Oh yeah, let me write it down so I don't forget. So I'm going to do the precession of the equinoxes chart. And then is the precession of the equinoxes. The see how I just forgot just that quick. Oh, and then so maybe here, instead of doing a whole nother chart, there are no, it's probably going to be a separate chart. Do another one of these with the corresponding body parts of both the Orisha and the astrological sign. There are corresponding body parts of both the Orisha, body parts that are said to be owned or governed by the Orisha, and the same thing with the zodiacal chart. There are directly corresponding body parts to each sign or astrological house. So doing a whole nother zodiacal chart or finding a way to add them to these charts where it's not so messy, the corresponding body parts. You feel me? And then maybe the last thing I will do the zodiacal body parts, and I might do that separate. But yeah, so you see, I've been working on it. I ain't just been in here playing games. This took some time. You feel me? So I'm probably gonna do 2 more of those. And this girl is running a little late, but I need to stop here. And what I will do is after she leaves, because her treatment is only an hour. After she leaves, I will then sit down and talk to you about the astrological significance, not only of this new moon that we are walking into, but even just this is just the last 24 hours, because I took the whole day off yesterday because the weekend doing the summer solstice practical quote ritual event that we did over the weekend, that shit did me. It did me. I slept all day yesterday. When I say I slept all day yesterday, I slept all day yesterday. These women, these insane women, I was like, I'm only going to do 3 hours a day. I don't care. I'm going to do 3 hours a day. Child, every single one of them 3 days we was on the phone. I think the earliest time we got off that Zoom was like 2 o'clock in the morning. But Saturday and Sunday, 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning each day. And even then, I'm like, somebody be like, no, don't go yet. Can I ask one more question? Hell no, you can't ask one more question. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Don't y'all people have lives? If it's 4 o'clock for me, I know it's got to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for y'all. That just did me. When I tell you it did me, it was awesome, but it did me. And so just since last night, because I finally made when I tell you I slept all day, I got up to pee, I got up to eat a peach, I got up to drink some water, and would go right back. I slept all day. I think I got up at around, finally, like for good, got up at around 9 o'clock, 8 or 9 o'clock last night. And so I started taking a bunch of notes last night, and then got up again to try to finish taking my notes about these big moments that we're walking up into for the next several months, right? Because I'll reserve it for then, because I got to go straighten up my practice room. But child, we better be ready. 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 We got to be ready, because there's something for us to win. That's why they making the moves that they making, because they think there's something for them to win. There ain't nothing for them to win. This shit is over. There ain't nothing for them to win. This shit is for us to win. This shit is for us to take. This moment is ours. This moment is ours. This year belongs to us. This time in history is ours. Child, our mother, Oya, is up the fuck in the scene. She up the fuck in the scene, waiting for us to take hold of the reins of power. That's what she ready for. That's what she ready for. Not just her, everybody up the fuck up in here. This is why I started doing that chart today. Who else up in here? Listen, I want to tell y'all so bad, but I'm going to wait. so I don't have to rush. This shit is for us to take. I can't say it no plainer than that. This period, this time, these next 2 decades are for us to take. They already belong to us. They are just waiting for us to step into the role. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. That's all it is. I'm telling you, doing this, because that's the thing. These astrologers, man, their only frame of reference, their only worldview, unfortunately, even black ones, even brown ones, even red ones, their worldview is still so intimately hog-tied to Eurocentric understanding of our relationship to the stars. And so, because it is unflinching in its commitment to seeing the stars and our relationship to the heavens through a Eurocentric worldview, that they don't even deviate from the narrative at all. They don't see any view but this view that's Eurocentric and perpetually hostile and violent. So I'm listening to all these damn astrologers over just since last night, y'all. I'm sitting here listening to all these astrologers, and y'all ain't got no good news. Y'all ain't got no good news. Y'all ain't got no vision outside of war. You the astrologers, y'all ain't got no vision outside of war, outside of domination, outside the repetition of the same old shit. Even though as you talk, you say, yeah, Pluto is the planet of revolution. Pluto is the great revolutionary, the guardian of justice. Y'all say that. Uranus, yes, Uranus want to flip this whole shit over, just like Jesus in the temple. But all y'all talking about is war. All y'all talking about is the plutocracy. That's all. When I tell you, when I tell you they are fighting like hell to hide us, when I tell you they are fighting like hell they are fighting like hell to make sure black ass bitches stay invisible. We don't need nobody paying attention to them. We need to drown out anything that they are articulating. We need to make sure don't nobody hear nothing these bitches got to say. We can't afford for nobody to hear what these bitches got to say. Because now, I don't know if y'all heard over the last couple of days, they've been talking about this thing is called AO3. This I think it's called AO3. AO3. This thing called AO3, which is some kind of like AI generator or whatever. And the things I've been hearing for about the last 2 days is how there is this uptake in extremely like violent, violently racist caricature, like minis and shorts and stuff that are specifically geared towards Black women. And when I say an uptake, the girl I heard yesterday who just posted her video yesterday was saying that in the last 2 weeks, there have been more than a billion videos made specifically for TikTok through this program that's a Google program, an AI content creator, and billion, not million, billion videos, quote, generated by this AI program that is of exclusively Black women as, quote, the Sasquatch or an ape with long clinky nails and an ape with pressed hair talking in, quote, AAVE and ghetto slang. Billions of videos in a week. Of the videos are so bad. One of the videos I saw last night was a young white guy saying, is nobody paying attention to what is happening with this violently racist videos that just seem to be popping up out of nowhere, and Google isn't doing anything, though it has the technology right on its site to monitor and make it impossible for people to create obvious harmful AI generated videos. Like, is nobody going to say anything about this? He's like, I'm a white guy and I can see how extraordinarily harmful and problematic this shit is. And it's like every day there are millions more videos being generated by blind sites using this AI generator, Google's AI generator, and the only object of this disdainful shit is black women. So I'm not saying this shit lightly. When I say they don't want you, they don't want nobody to hear a fucking word that's coming at your black ass mouth. They don't. And there's a reason for that. Because they listen to us just like we listen to us. Damn, these bitches getting hip to the game. They motherfucking Sybil energy is sparking like synaptic activity. Every time these bitches start talking to each other, shit start firing off. They saying shit they ain't supposed to know. And they ain't learning it in the book. Something's happening to them and some shit spring forward and they remember shit they ain't supposed to know. We got to shut these bitches up. Y'all wasn't on the live, but I was like, every time you turn on your social media or whatever, this is what you see. It's just this, and every time you try to make this damn reverse shit is keep me out my brain confused. Every time your ass try to make a little peek from behind the veil that they keep putting up behind you, I cannot. This whole eye backwards like thing is, listen, yeah, right. You like, hey, I want to tell y'all something. I want y'all to look behind the mountain of whiteness. Look behind. Hey, I got something to say. Oh, whoa. We need to put whoa. No, it's right here. It's right here. Just go back to the obvious stuff. You know, we saw with Palestine, the watermelon people, and then we come over here and we like, yo, I'm trying to tell you something. I'm trying to tell you. I can't do it. I can't do it backwards. It's like my hand and my head ain't working in this reverse. In the way that they had this shit reversed. I don't know if you can even reverse your screen, but it's fucking my brain up trying to like work against it. You feel me? But anyway, every time you try to peek from behind the veil of madness proliferating the entire internet, they're like, oh no, block that shit. Oh. Drive that shit down in the algorithm. We don't need none of these black bitches talking. We damn sure don't need them fucking linking up. These red women, we don't need them talking. These Arab women, we do not need them talking. These South Korean women, child, they almost did us. If it wouldn't have been for that little fake ass coup we pulled, these bitches would still be talking about that 4B shit. Have you noticed ain't nobody talking about 4B no more? That was what that fake ass coup was about. I'm trying to give y'all a word. I'm telling y'all all the time. The target has always been the same. The target has always, I don't care what they talking about. I don't care what aggression. I don't care what war. I don't care what they got in front of your face. The target has remained the same. It is people born with uteruses. Those uteruses, they need to control to ensure the influx of free and cheap labor. And if these bitches start talking, they start fucking with our money. If these bitches start talking about controlling their uteruses and that shit actually start to resonate, how you got black ass women talking about, yeah, all victory to the women in South Korea. 4B movement, I like that shit. Let's go. They's like, no, we cannot have that shit. We cannot have black women listening to South Korean women talking about they about to shut down the factories. Talking about they about to abstain. Talking about creating their own black ass version of the 4B. Shouting out women in South Korea talking about, yes, we need to do that shit here. We can't have that. We cannot have that. As a matter of fact, if you have me tell it, the sister that they just murdered and then made her a half-dead incubator for a baby that was born 1 pound to 0.28 ounces, she was a direct consequence. That was a punishment. That was a message. Y'all black ass bitches better not be getting no ideas about controlling your own uteruses, controlling your own bodies, talking about you ain't gonna have sex and you ain't gonna have nobody baby. Don't y'all get no motherfucking ideas up in here. Y'all motherfuckers been listening to these goddamn women in motherfucking South Korea talking about y'all about to abstain. Don't y'all get no goddamn ideas. We will hold your very body hostage. Don't y'all get no goddamn ideas. And when I'm telling you that shit, as quick as we was conscious of it, it was just as quick as I ain't heard nobody else talk about it since South Korea, to muzzle those women who now are being heard all over the globe, staged a fake ass coup to divert everybody's attention away from what these women were successfully doing, and ain't nobody talked about it since. It was all y'all was talking about. November, after Trump got elected, that's all y'all was talking about. This is even more of a reason for us to shut down the baby making factory. When his ass got inaugurated and out the gate started all these what you call it, executive orders. It's like, oh yep, 4B shit. We gotta rewind on that shit. Y'all ain't heard nothing else about it. Just as quick as y'all was talking, everybody in the country was talking about it. Black men, black women, everybody was talking. This was just a second ago. This wasn't like a year ago. This wasn't like 2 years ago. This was in January. This was in November that everybody in this country, female, was like, damn, these little very timid, mild-mannered South Korean women is giving the whole country hell. They were giving them hell, offering imprisoned South Korean women $72,000 a year if they would commit to have a baby. And even they were saying, hell no, we will not betray our country, women. We'll stay in jail. We'll stay in jail. And ain't nobody talking about. I have not heard the letters in the number 4B since January. Since that little phony ass coup that took everybody attention. I'm talking about South Korea, little phony ass coup they staged. And then that became the global news. Is that shit I'm telling you about that? Let's get in the way. Let's distract. Y'all ain't saying nothing about it. I've only mentioned it 2 or 3 times, but I'm like, damn, why ain't nobody talking about 4B no more? It just disappeared. They had been talking about it for years because the first video I did on 4B was in what? 2022? I was like, have y'all heard about this 4B thing? That was in 2022, the first long video that I did about 4B. And I did that video within the context of the global increase of violence against women. It was the World Health Organization that just in December, as a matter of fact, what's his name? Jimmy Carter, right? Because y'all know he died in December. Just before he died in December, he made a presentation at the World Health Organization, maybe at the WHO. And he said, we have to stop calling it crimes, the increase of violence against women. We have to stop saying that. He said, we have to say what it is. What the world is experiencing with the increase of violence against women, it is no longer just, quote, random violence against women. What we're experiencing globally is femicide, is a campaign of femicide. That's what Jimmy Carter said right before he died. That is not, quote, random acts of violence. It is, with the increase of violence against women since COVID, we have to call it what it is. It is a femicide, a global femicide. And then he dead 3 weeks. He was old as Methuselah, but I'm just saying his ass was dead 3 weeks later. Then he down did he cut down Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve? Child, he was dead. And listen, we trying to get a handle on this female shit. We don't need you talking about no striking no goddamn urgency in no women's hearts. They already talking about trying to not have babies no more. You got to put the muzzle on that. We ain't even heard nobody else say that. The femicide happening everywhere on earth. You feel me? So when I tell you, they was already upset about these South Korean women talking that shit about no 4B. I mean, it's like, as long as we can keep, black women don't like South Korean women anyway. They don't fuck with them like that. They ain't no real connection that would have this on the radar of nobody in the States. So cool. Let these few little minions talk their shit about living with each other and getting cats. And what they did not expect was that black women were going to be the loudest about, damn, what these South Korean women over here doing? Like, damn, they talking about what? Buying houses together? 7 women buying houses together, being like, fuck it. No booty, no babies, no dating men, no marrying men, no babies with men. You understand? None of it. And they were asking for the bare minimum, y'all. They wasn't even Child, they wasn't even talking about changing the country. They was like, can y'all pay us? Can y'all pay us what we deserve? The the of the developed countries on earth, South Korean women of the developed countries, South Korean women had the lowest pay percentage to males than even we in the United States as Black women. They were making a third of what South Korean men were making. I said, what? They on average were making a third of what the average Korean man was making. They have what you call the widest pay gap between males and females in the 52 developed countries. I said, what? They was asking for the bare minimum. Can y'all make some laws that make it illegal for men to rape us? Can y'all do that? There were no serious laws on the books before the 4B movement for crimes against women's bodies. What they were calling what? Involuntary pornography that was so rampant in South Korea, where shop business owners, restaurant owners, business owners, hotel owners were setting up cameras in their businesses, in the bathroom stall, little hidden cameras underneath the toilet where the seat come up and down, hidden cameras so they can record women's vaginas while they pee, record them in the hotel rooms while they taking showers and shit, and then sell the shit on the black market. That it was run rampant, and it wasn't considered a crime. There were no laws against it. There were no laws against it. No harsh laws against stalking. The deaths of South Korean women, staggering beyond comprehension, y'all. Staggering. When I did that research about that thing around South Korea and the 4B movement couple summers ago, 3 summers ago, I said, listen, yes, we do have issues with other races. Does that turn us into political opportunists? Not me. Now, y'all can do what you want. It won't be me. It will not be me to betray women. It will not be me who betray oppressed people, even if they don't like my black ass. Nope. Sure won't. Sure won't. You won't have me out here selling out my motherfucking integrity off of some bullshit that white people done put in other people's heads about us anyway. You won't have me do it. I got right up on that live. I said the first thing I want to say is, yes, historically, especially in this country, black women have issue with Korean women and Japanese women and Chinese women and all the women, because everybody hate black ass bitches. Fine. But I want to declare right now, all power to the women of South Korea and the demands that they have for their life and for their goddamn sovereignty. Do that thing. Do that thing. Do what y'all do, because that shit y'all got going on in South Korea is some gangster shit. And they are doing it under the perpetual threat of their very lives. That homosexuality is illegal in South Korea. And so the first thing, quote, the government's propaganda did was to label these women lesbians. The first piece of propaganda the state unleashed on these women, asking for the bare minimum. We take care of your babies for free. We are more likely to be killed in our house than out in the street. That's not a statistic I am making up. That 85% of murders in South Korea are women. 85% of all the murders in South Korea are of women. 51% of that 85%, 51% of them are murdered in their house. They are killed in their homes. In their house. They ain't killed by strangers. They killed in their house by their partners. They asking for the bare minimum. Can we make enough money that we can do some things? We can secure some things for ourselves. We do just as much work as y'all do. Plus, we take care of kids. They was asking for the bare minimum. Their lives are literally in jeopardy by saying, can we have what we deserve? Can we have what we earned? In a country where there ain't no laws that even protect them from stalkers and rapists and people selling cameras everywhere to take pictures of them and their girl children. in public places. In public places. Can we just have the bare minimum, please? And this has become the what was that book, the Scarlet Letter? This has become the Scarlet Letter. So they ain't asking. So they say, look, y'all can't have no pussy until y'all act right. That's the bottom line. That we are choosing to shut down the baby making factory and to guarantee that we ain't getting pregnant on accident and none of that. No dating, no baby making, no marriage, and whatever the fourth B was. And so the first thing that the government does is to launch a campaign because of the fact that in South Korea, quote, it is illegal to be gay. And so they gonna say all these women are just bitter ass gay lesbians. Feminist lesbians. That was the first campaign they launched to get the country united in their vitriol against the women, to turn males in the community into weapons against women. And now this language, feminist lesbians, becomes the justification for the increase in violence against women, for saying, can we just get paid better? Can y'all just create some laws that protect us? That's all we asking for. And they did everything but give the women what they wanted. They did everything but offered to pay female inmates, assuming that they would be so desperate, offered to pay female inmates $72,000 a year just to have babies. And even the women in jail was like, I ain't interested in that shit. You got me fucked up. You got me fucked up. You feel me? You ain't gonna have me out here in a political opportunist. All power to women. Every woman on earth. Even if her mind ain't right now, may this shit sweep through her goddamn soul and purge that demon out of her goddamn consciousness so she could be a used goddamn planet. Now let me go. My patient is downstairs. But I'm gonna come back after I finish this and then I'll talk to you about what we need to do for the rest of the year. Okay? All right, peace.